ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भागवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकीम्। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, text number 8. This chapter's title is Narada's Instruction on Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Narada Uvacha Bhavatārudita prāyam Yasho Bhagavato amalam Yenaivaso natustyetya manye taddarshanam kilam. Sri Narada Uvacha Bhavatanudita prāyam Yasho Bhagavato malam Yenaivaso tattushyete manye taddarshanam kilam. Please, sir. Sri Narada Uvacha Prayam Yasho Bhagavato malam Yenaivaso natustena manye taddarshanam kilam. Mataji. Sri Narada Uvacha Bhavatanudita prāyam Yasho Bhagavato malam Yeno vaso natusteta manye taddarshanam kilam. What word meaning? Sri Narada Uvacha said, Bhavata by you, Anudita prāyam almost not praised, Yashaha glories, Bhagavata of the personality of Godhead, Amalam spotless, Yena by which, Eva certainly, Asau he the personality of Godhead, Na does not, Tushyeta be pleased, Manye I think, Tat that, Darshanam philosophy, Kilam inferior. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Sri Narada said, "You have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the personality of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless." Purport. The eternal relation of an individual soul with the Supreme Soul, personality of Godhead, is constitutionally one of being the eternal servitor of the eternal Master. The Lord has explained Himself as living beings in order to accept loving service for them, and that alone can satisfy both the Lord and the living beings. Such a scholar as Vyasadeva has completed many expansions of the Vedic literature, ending with Vedanta philosophy, but none of them has been written directly glorifying the personality of Godhead. Dry philosophical speculation, even on the transcendental subject of the Absolute, have very little attraction without directly dealing the glorification of the Lord. The personality of Godhead is the last word in transcendental realization. The Absolute realized as impersonal Brahman or localized Supersoul, Paramatma, is less productive of transcendental bliss than the supreme personal realization of His glories. The compiler of the Vedanta Darshan is Vyasadeva himself, yet he is troubled, although he is the author. So what sort of transcendental bliss can be delivered by the readers and the listeners of the Vedanta, which is not explained directly by Vyasadeva, the author? Herein arises the necessity of explaining Vedanta Sutra in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam by the self-same author. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadhanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitanscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitidamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gauravakavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So this Bhagavatam shloka what we read today actually explains about how the Bhagavatam has manifested. Vyasadeva has compiled various Vedic literatures about consonants. So when he asked the reason of not being satisfied to his spiritual master Narada Muni, so he explains the cause. So Narada Vacha, Narada is speaking, rather Narada is instructing. So he's instructing his disciple Vyasadeva. Like Guru, the duty of a Guru is to instruct his disciple and set him on a right path. So he's correcting his disciple. So generally when a Guru corrects a disciple also should be ready to accept that correction. So here it is explained that Shishya, the word Shishya means one who accepts the Shashana. So without following the instruction of Guru, without being obedient to Guru, no one can make any spiritual advancement. So he should be worthy being ordered. The Shishya should be worthy also. Some people say that nowadays we don't get Sadguru, proper Guru. But not only Sadguru, but at the same time there must be also a proper Shishya, the right Shishya. So that the speaker, that Guru and the teacher and the disciple, they have nice relation. So he should be completely obeying the order of Guru. So here in Bhagavad Gita also, we hear from Arjuna, when he was in dilemma, when he was in a confused state, he says to Krishna, I have a disease. So what is the disease? Karpanya dosha apata svabhava. Karpanya means I have a miserly weakness. Kripana means miser. So miser is the one who has wealth but he don't want to spend, who has skills but who don't want to use. So here in this context, Arjuna is saying Karpanya dosha means I am a warrior, I am a Kshatriya, I have ability to fight but I don't want to fight. So this is the dosha, this is the problem I am facing. Karpanya dosha apata svabhava. Apata svabhava means my svabhava, my nature has been lost, it has been stolen. Dharma sammuda cheta, what is right and what is wrong, I am not able to distinguish between this both. So dharma sammuda cheta. So yashreyas chan nishitan bruhitan me. He says, what is shreyas, what is the best thing for me? Oh Krishna, my dear Lord, please explain to me. So now I surrender to you. Sishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. So when Arjuna says that I surrender to you as a disciple, please instruct me, that was the time where Krishna begins to speak Bhagavad Gita. Krishna begins to instruct him about the teachings of Gita. So Arjuna is accepting that previously the relation was like based on friendship, Sakyarasa. Now, immediately he says, please accept me as your disciple and teach me. So, Shishya, he means one who voluntarily accepts to be ruled by a guru. That is called a Shishya. So, here we see the same thing. Vyasadeva, he is going to teach about this vast knowledge. He has given me the responsibility to teach the knowledge to the entire human society. So it's a big responsible job. So he cannot say whatever comes to his mind, he cannot speak out. So he has to be well trained and he's clarifying with his guru whether I'm teaching, whether I'm having acquired the complete knowledge or something is lacking. So if I have acquired the entire knowledge, but still what is the cause of my dissatisfaction? So that is a question asked by Vyasadeva. So he has compiled Brahma Sutras, Vedanta Darshana, and this all Brahma Sutras and Vedanta Darshana and everything is explaining about only the impersonal aspect of the Supreme Lord. So there is like, it explains about, if you want to understand about the absolute truth, there are three methods, three processes. Vadanti tattva vidas tattvam yadvayam jnanam avyayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaneti shabdate. So we can realize absolute truth in three ways. So vadanti tattva vidas tattvam yadvayam jnana brahmeti. Brahmeti means the impersonal aspect of the Supreme Lord. So it's not complete knowledge, it's only a partial knowledge. Just like Prabhupada gives a nice example. You understand about the sunlight, but light itself is not the whole and everything. But there is sun god, Vivaswan, and there is sun globe also. So just by understanding this Brahman realization means to realize the Lord's eternal, the light which is emanating from the body of the Lord. That is Brahman realization. Since the Lord is eternal, the light which is emanating from his body is also eternal. But in this light, one cannot stay for long, because there is no ananda, there is no activity there. So in spiritual world, the devotees are closely associated with the Lord, and they perform devotional service and they serve the Lord. So there is a master and there is a servant, but here there is no such kind of thing in Brahma Jyoti. There is definitely eternity, but how long can they stay in the light? So there is no happiness and no bliss there. So again, one who attends this Brahman realization, they go to Brahma Jyoti, again they have to fall down also. They cannot stay there eternally. So that's why this Brahman realization is also not complete realization, it's only partial realization. So Brahmeti, Paramatmeti. Paramatmeti means localized aspect of the Supreme Super Soul who is there in everyone's heart. So how they realize Paramatma? Dhyana vastita tadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yoginaha. The yogis, the mystic yogis, they perform a lot of penance here. There is a lot of penance invested in this realization. And there is also there is a risk of falling down because of this tapasya, they get some mystic powers. So they may deviate from the path. So therefore, this is also not complete realization. So Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti shabdate. Bhagavan realization is the absolute realization. So Bhagavan means Vyasadev's father, Parashara Muni, he explains about the definition of Bhagavan. He says that Bhagavan means one who acquires all kinds of opulences in full, in total. He's all beautiful, all knowledgeable, all wealthy, all powerful. So renunciation. Everything is incomplete. So that's what we call him as Bhagavan. So that is a Bhagavan realization is the ultimate realization. So here Narada in this sloka, today's verse, he replies that Bhavata anudita prayam yasho bhagavata amalam. So he says that you have given many literatures. So Vyasadeva has given many literatures. Just like there are 18 Puranas, which includes Mahabharata, that is also one of the Itihasa. So Vedas and Brahma Sutras, there are so many things Vyasadeva has given. But it's insufficient. It's insufficient means it's incomplete. It's not complete glorification of the Lord is mentioned in them. Just like, for example, in Mahabharata, there is definitely the glories of Lord in the middle portion, but most of them are covered with politics, about Dhanur Vidya, about warfare, and so many other things like about sociology. All these topics are there in the Mahabharata. But in the middle portion, little bit glorification of Krishna is there. Similarly, other literature, like even if you see Bhagavad Gita, that is directly the Upadesha of the Lord, that is the teachings of the Lord. So here, but exclusively, there is no scripture which is particularly glorifying the spotless character of the Supreme Personality of God. That's what Narada says. He says that you have not actually broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the Personality of Godhead. So that is the reason of Vyasadev's dissatisfaction. So here, Bhagavata Amalam. So Bhagavata Purana, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that this Bhagavata Mahapurana is Amala Purana. So why this Bhagavatam is Amala? Because there is no Jai Sri Radha Krishna Bhagavan ki Jai Gaur Nithai Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki Jai. So why Bhagavatam is Amala Purana? Because there is no mixture in this. There is no karma kanda, there is no jnana kanda. There are Vedas, there are 3 kandas. One is karma kanda, jnana kanda and upasana kanda. So karma kanda are the activities which are performed with the expectation of some result. So if I do this activity, what kind of benefit I derive from this activity? So there is some expectation. So there is some material motivation behind that. So these are all karma kanda activities. And jnana kanda is a speculative knowledge. So this is also not perfect. But upasana kanda or bhakti kanda is the process where when we apply them, that is a procedure where we can realize about God, Bhagavan. So this Bhagavatam is completely free from this karma kanda and jnana kanda. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, one of our prominent acharya, he says this karma kanda, jnana kanda, sakala vishera bhanda. Says karma kanda and jnana kanda are like it's like a vishera bhanda, it's like a poisonous things. Why? Because it distracts us from the path of devotion, pure devotion from the Lord. So that's been completely eradicated from this Bhagavata Purana. That's why it's called as Amala Purana. It's a spotless Purana. So here Narada says that Bhagavatam Amalam, spotless glories of the Lord, is not being glorified. That's why, that's the cause of dissatisfaction. He says that Paravaresha Anudhita Prayam, Anukta Prayam. Anukta Prayam means almost not completely praised. Here and there is glorification definitely, but not completely praised. Like we see in the Vedas, there is Vishnu Purana, Shiva Purana, Devi Purana, so many things are there, but not exclusively glorifying the Lord. So that's why it says Anudita Prayam, almost all not praised. It's not just like a side light. We sometimes there's example given, just like a person, there's some people they say we accept God, we believe in God. So what do? You go to the temple once in a while, ring the bell, offer dandavats, put some kumkum, break some coconut, and that's it. They think that's all. That's it. That's enough. Some people go once in a week, some people go once in a fortnight, and they think that's it. That's enough. That's not enough. So it's only incomplete surrender. So surrender means complete surrender. Means Krishna conscious, or this beautiful Krishna conscious movement which is established by Srila Prabhupada is teaching us how to engage ourselves completely in the process of bhakti, in devotional service. So that is complete. So that is 10%. So like that, it's like Anukta Praya means it's not completely praised. That's what Narada says in today's verse. And therefore Narada says, you don't think that by writing your Vedanta Darshana, God is pleased. So here he's using his chastising his disciple. So even though Vyasadeva, he's a literary incarnation of the Supreme Lord, he's playing the role of a disciple. And Guru means, in other words, Guru means heavy also. Heavy in sense, he has to chastise the disciple, he has to correct the disciple. Sometimes devotees, they don't take that correction, they feel offended, the disciples, and they leave the Guru also. That's why Guru very carefully deal with the disciples. Sometimes he sees whether he is able to take the chastisement or not. If he is not able to take the chastisement, he will not give him that particular type of service. He will only allow that service which he can be favorably disposed to him, and he will be peacefully situated, be connected. But if a disciple is mature enough in his spiritual practices, then definitely he is willing to take chastisement from his Guru. He is ready to take corrections from the superiors. So the more the superiors we have to correct us, the more we are in a safe zone. So if we think that we don't want any correction and we don't want to be under anyone's correction, then we are only boosting our ego, and we become puffed up and we may fall down in spiritual life also. So it's a boon, it's like a boon that we are under someone's correction and we have many superior devotees, senior devotees to correct us and put us on the right path. So here Narada is correcting his disciple. He is saying, you don't think that by you writing your Vedanta Darshana and it's pleasing the Lord. Mayata Darshanam. You have done wonderful work in writing Vedanta, but I think Tad Darshanam Kilam. Tad Darshanam Kilam, it's insignificant. It's not complete. It's not. So he says that just by philosophical speculation, just by argument, Vada, Vitanda Vada, Prativada, or exhibiting ourselves that how scholarly I am, how can I nicely speak. So by this, Lord is not pleased. If you become a big scholar, Lord is not pleased by your scholarliness. Lord is pleased with your devotion. So that is a very important aspect. So we see in Vrindavan, gopis are the best example, the ideal example. They are not big scholars, nor they are big philosophers, nor they are big Brahmins, nor they are just simple village ladies. They have spontaneous love towards Krishna. And that's what the Lord is attracted to. He is attracted to the love and devotion. Previous month we have Damodara Masa. So the Lord, He completely keeps in the hands of His loving devotees. He was binded by Mother Yashoda. So Mother Yashoda binds the Lord with love, with pure love. So otherwise who can bind the Lord? So Lord Himself, He says that Aham Bhakta Paradina. Aham Bhakta Paradina. I'm completely I'm just like a puppet in the hands of my devotees. So Lord feels a great transcendental pleasure to be under the hands of His loving devotees. And that's what here, that's the love which attracts the love with the Lord, not becoming a big philosopher or big scholar. You cannot attract the Lord by our scholarliness. So here, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that the eternal relation of the individual soul with the super soul, personality of Godhead, is constitutionally one of the being, the eternal servant and the eternal master. So we are constitutionally related with Lord as the eternal servant. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita explains about this. Jivera hoy swarup, Nityera Krishnadas. Nitya means eternal. Nityera Krishnadas. We are eternal servitors of the Supreme Lord. Our Lord is eternal master and we are His servants. So we come to this material world, we connect with so many material relationships. We bind ourselves with so many materialistic relationships. So it's all temporary. Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a nice example given. Just like on the banks of the river side, that leaves and twigs, they fall in the flow of the river. So when the waves hit them, at one point of their time they come together, and again when the wave comes and hit them, they scatter here and there. So that's what this material relation, what we have in this material world. It's all temporary and it's not permanent. One day we have to be separated. But the relation with the Lord, what we have is eternal. That's why we are hankering for that eternity. Satchitananda, Sat. Sat means eternal aspect. So when we say satsang, the word satsang means we are trying to associate with the eternity, or eternal relationship. That's what satsang. So here, the purport Prabhupada explains about this very nicely. He is our eternal master and we are eternal servitor of the Lord. And the Lord has expanded Himself as a living being in order to accept loving services from them. So why the Lord has to expand Himself? Why the Lord has to incarnate? Lord incarnates Himself into innumerable forms. Avataraha asankyanam. We cannot count how many incarnations are there. Just like in the ocean and the waves, We cannot count how many waves are there. Similarly, we cannot count how many incarnations of the Lord are there. So, innumerable incarnations. So, why He is expanding Himself? Just to accept loving service from the living entities. Not only human beings, there are 8,400,000 species of living entities. So the Lord expands into each and every, He expands into various forms, not only for us, just to support the human beings, but other entities also, just to uplift them. He gives us opportunity to engage us in the loving service. So we see here, Srila Prabhupada explains that the Lord's deity form is called as Archavatara. The deity is also the incarnation of the Lord, Archavatara. And if we want to exhibit our love, we exhibit our love through serving the Lord. So the Lord is accepting our service in the form of the deity. So Prabhupada explains that this is the authorized way to render service to the Lord, who is in the form of deity. So when we serve the Lord with love, that's what satisfies our heart. It satisfies it pleases the Lord, and it satisfies the jiva also. So jiva is hankering for this satisfaction. Jiva is hankering for this happiness. Anandamayo abhyasad. He wants to be happy. That is our constitutional position. To be happy is our inherent position. To be happy. But we are trying to seek that happiness in this material world. So what kind of happiness, what we derive from this material world, is only just a break. It's a breakthrough for all the trouble, all the kleshas. It's just a break from all the problems. So that we think as a happiness. Just like there is an example given, like in olden days, the kings, they used to go and they used to punish the culprits. They used to go and put their head in the river, and when they were suffocating, then they used to release them. Again, when they feel little relief, again they put them back to the river. So that kind of punishment. So that's what it is explained, that what kind of happiness we derive is only a break through the suffering, that's all. We get a break, then we feel that it's happiness, but that's not the happiness. The real satisfaction, the real happiness, what we have to derive is, here Prabhupada clearly says, that by rendering loving service to the Lord. And that happiness also is not limited. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipadam Purnamruta Swadanam. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Vardhanam means it's ever increasing happiness. And Purnamruta Swadanam, we can completely, totally release that happiness. It's not incomplete. And here also Prabhupada explains that the dry philosophical speculations, even on the transcendental subject of the Absolute, has very little attraction. So this is a very important point. So even though there is a transcendental subject matter, like Brahmavadis, Vedanta we say, it's like dry philosophy. Because there is no direct dealings with the glorification of the Lord. There is no direct dealings in that. So that's what here we see Vyasadeva, in spite of compiling all this Vedanta Darshan and everything, he is not satisfied. That is the best example we can see. So the Vedantist, the dry philosophical speculators, even though in spite of reading Vedanta and all, they cannot be satisfied. That's the appropriate example. So Vyasadeva is the best example. He is personally showing by himself that in spite of me compiling so many Vedanta, Darshana and all, I cannot be happy. So therefore, he started explaining about the Vedanta Sutra in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Vedanta Sutra, the end conclusion of the Vedas. So Srimad Bhagavatam is called as the Panchama Veda. So if we understand Srimad Bhagavatam, then we understand all the Vedas, the essence of the Veda. So Prabhupada says this, 3 books, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction. If we read these 4 books, that is complete. We can go back to Godhead. We need not have many other literatures. Even Shankaracharya, he says in Gita Mahatya, Eko Devo Devaki Putra Evam, Eko Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam. So if we read this, that's it. That's more than enough. It's because its essence, the complete essence is given in this literature, Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. So here we'll end. Any comments or questions regarding this topic today?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank you for your time and being wonderful class. You are calling
Satsanga. Yeah. Sats, because Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karana. Sat means eternity, Chit means knowledge, and Ananda means happiness. So Satsanga means we are connecting something with eternal. So the Lord is eternal, and the devotion towards the Lord is also eternal. Because when we do punya karyas, kshine punya mrityu lokam vishanti. Once the punya is completed, then again we have to come to mrityu loka. But these devotional activities, they are giving us eternal benefit. Life after life, this devotion is carried on to the jiva. So whatever we do little devotion, swalpam avyasya dharmasya trayato mahato bhayat. Swalpam, a little bit devotion performed to the Lord will be saving us from the greatest dangers. So satsanga means to associate with that eternity. So yes, knowledge, chit, once we are connected with the eternity, all this both is also followed, knowledge and ananda, because we are connected with eternal. So it's followed, it's being understood. That's all. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Sat means eternity. Good, yeah, good. Lord is eternal, He is all good, all powerful. Yeah. Sat means, the exact word is eternity. Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means eternity, Chit means knowledge, and Ananda means happiness.
I was under the impression that satsanga means good association.
Yeah. Sat means eternity. The exact, because see, the jiva, we are also eternal. We are embodied in this material body. Once we leave this body is made with Panchabhutas. This body will also merge into Panchabhutas. But the soul will never die. The soul is eternal. So the word Sat means eternity. So the Lord is eternal and the jiva is also eternal. We also don't have death. This body dies, but the soul never dies. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dadati pavakaha. The soul can never be cut into pieces, never can burn or never can dried up. So soul is eternal. So the eternity, that's why we hanker for eternity. If you question anyone, we want eternal life. No one wants to die. So that's there, that inherent quality is there within us. But we are caught up with this temporary body and we are suffering in this material world. So once we realize about the Lord, then we seek His eternal association and we go to the eternal abode of the Lord, where there is no janma mrityu jara vyadi. We have eternal happy life there in the spiritual world. So that's what we are hankering for.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Usually, when we compare in a modern science, later scientists will discover something and that will become the prominent or the current technology or current book.
Yes.
So similarly, our Vedavyasa has written these Puranas, all these things for the Kali Yuga people only.
Sorry?
These Puranas, all these literatures, he has written for the Kali Yuga souls. He has written it for the Kali Yuga people. And again he found some dissatisfaction and he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. Now both are existing. Both are existing. Srimad Bhagavatam is also existing. The other Puranas and things which he has written, everything is existing. Since he has given the ultimate thing, the other things he can get rid of it. No need to work on it. You just have this one. But it is not so. Right now we have both. So why it is so? Is it something deficient in Bhagavatam? Surely there is nothing deficient in Bhagavatam. Then why should we go to the other areas of
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
So your question begins with scientist inventions and technology first. Actually, we have the living entity has defects, imperfect senses. So whatever knowledge is derived from these imperfect senses is imperfect only. So they don't believe in God. They want to understand the Lord in ascending process with their own efforts. But the knowledge is to be understood in a descending process from the parampara. So the scientists, whatever they invent, it's all like third-class technology. What we have today, what we are using, we are proud of. It's only third-class technology. We have three kinds of technology: mantra, tantra, and yantra. So this yantra technology is third-class technology. The more advanced technology is mantra technology. And the other part of the question, you are saying that Bhagavatam is the best of all the Puranas. Yes, it's true. It's explained in Bhagavatam itself. Nimnaganam yatha ganga devanam achyuto yata vaishnavanam yatha shambho purananam idam data. Among all the Puranas, among all the scriptures, the Bhagavad Purana is the topmost Purana. So then why other Puranas are there, whether we have to go through them or Bhagavatam is all in all? That's a point you are mentioning. So yes, definitely we have to read Bhagavatam. But these are like supplementary, like supporting Puranas. Just like, for example, Ramayana is there, Valmiki Ramayana. So when you hear about Ramayana, you understand about the Lord's qualities, which are like, he's playing a role of ideal ruler. He's Maryada Purushottama. He's setting up an example. He's setting up an example of about an ideal ruler. That is also there in Bhagavatam. But in Ramayana, from Balakanda to Uttarakanda, everything is explained in detail. So that's how, if we want to relish that Sri Rama's pastime, we read Valmiki Ramayana. Similarly, Narsingha pastimes, everything, Dasavataras, everything is mentioned in Bhagavatam. So if you want to go to particular Leela, if you are attracted to particular pastime, like someone is attracted to Lord Narsingha, someone is attracted to Lord Rama, so they don't want to go into more deep into that katha. So they can go to this Upakyanas. Upakyanas are the scriptures where they explain the Leela in more detail, in an elaborate way. Like when we hear about this Padmavati Upakyana, that Lord Balaji's pastime is explained in more detailed way, very elaborately. So if you are attracted to that particular pastime, you go to that. So you get more rasa, more taste in that. And Bhagavatam, Prabhupada, in the first canto, he has given whatever he has to give. He has given everything about the creation and about all the incarnations, about Sarga, Visarga, Sarga creation, Visarga, again recreation by Brahma, which took place. Everything is there in Bhagavatam. Yes, Bhagavatam is all in all. But as the devotion attraction increases to a particular deity, they can go for Ramayana also, the pastimes. So, we'll stop here. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Gaur Premanande Hare Krishna.